Hey, Lee Robinson here from American Sentinel K9. In this video, we're going to really focus on our American Pit Bull Terrier line and how they have impacted our American Sentinel program as well. But if you're not interested in the American Sentinel, don't worry. We're still going to be highlighting what we're doing with our American Pit Bull Terriers. Now, recently we've had a number of people ask us about Frankie Bomp, the Sorrels line, and Lucky 7, and they've asked me to differentiate my opinions on these dogs. And sometimes when people contact me, I kind of get the vibe that they want me to convince them into which dog that they should buy. And I don't like to take that approach as a breeder. I don't like being a salesman. I think, frankly, salesmen are to be suspect. You know, we have to be careful about trusting somebody that's trying to sell you something. Instead, what I do as a breeder, I breed what I like, and I tell the public about what I am interested in and what my goals are, in hopes that other like-minded individuals will find me and we can bring people together that are interested in producing a family of dogs bred to a high standard. Now, I say that because one of the things that I have learned that I personally get annoyed by, and I don't want to be that person that is uncooperative, but I can't stand stupid people. Ignorance is acceptable because an ignorant person can learn. They just don't know yet. But a stupid person is very difficult. So I get annoyed by people that tend to have a low IQ. You know, in a conversation, if you find that they are difficult to work with, that every time you talk, it becomes more work than it should be. And the reason why is because it's more work than it should be. But it's also because stupid people tend to get in a lot of trouble. And I don't want trouble, okay? Now, the reason why I bring that up is because I also want intelligence in my dogs. I want intelligent people to work with, but I also want intelligent dogs to work with. And so this is a trait that's important to me as a breeder, because I don't just breed working dogs for catching hogs or doing protection work. I breed family companion guardians. And if you're going to do obedience or agility or protection work, having a highly intelligent dog is going to be beneficial in training. And that's going to be a factor to consider as we talk about our Pit Bull line and our American Sentinels. So let's start right off the bat. Let's look at this dog, Boomer. Boomer was sired by Frankie Bomp. Frankie Bomp came from Madison Parker. This is Robinson's Boomer. Boomer, like I said, was off of Frankie Bomp, bred back to Rosebud. I'm sitting on the ground and he's wanting to come out and play with me. Now, why does that matter? Look at this dog's tail. Look at his demeanor and how cute and interactive he is wanting to be with me. Now, you might think, well, who cares, Lee? I want a working dog. The cool thing about the Sorrels line is they have this soft side with the family. And they're super intelligent. But yet, when it comes to work, they are about that life. They are 100% great dogs, all right, assuming you have a good representation of what a Sorrels dog is supposed to be. Not only do you get great health, great athleticism, great drive, great determination, gameness, all the traits that you would want in a working dog, you also get a high degree of intelligence. These dogs learn so fast. They condition very easily, and they're very healthy and very driven and very determined. In my opinion, there's not a more perfect line of American Pit Bull Terrier than the Sorrels line. And if you know Bert Sorrels, you know Madison Parker. Madison Parker was the person that I got Frankie Bomp from. Madison was a conditioner, handler, and breeder of the Sorrels dogs for decades. He still has dogs to this day, some really good examples of Sorrels dogs, but they weren't 100% Sorrels in blood. And so I found a guy that had some Sorrels that were blood that was 100%, but it was an elderly gentleman who's on oxygen, and he was downsizing his program quite a bit, and we bought a total of 5 dogs from him. Okay? Now, those 5 dogs we'll discuss that were 100% Sorrels, and we'll talk about how we use them in our program. So I took Frankie Bomp, who is 3/4 Sorrels, from Madison Parker, back to Rosebud, who was 100%. And that's what made this beautiful specimen right here, Boomer. Boomer is sired by Frankie Bomp over Rosebud. And we also have his awesome sister, Scarlet. So these 2 dogs are full litter mates. Very intelligent, very driven, determined dogs with good finished behavior. when it comes to working. They're going to finish their goal, and they have great stability with the family. Intelligent, athletic, game-driven, great nerves, everything you want in a pit bull, these dogs have it. Now, you might think, well, why did you bother with the Mayday blood? Well, Mayday blood has one fault, but also one major benefit. The fault in the Mayday dogs is the intelligence. They seem to be lacking in the intelligence department. But they also have a benefit, which is size, without sacrificing ability. You know, a lot of times when you get a bigger dog, you'll lose stamina, you'll lose drive, you'll lose gameness, you'll lose health. Well, not the case with the Mayday dogs. The Mayday dogs have all those traits. The only thing that the Mayday dogs are lacking tends to be intelligence. And it's really more so on the males. The females that I've seen have been very stable, family-oriented dogs. But the males tend to be a little bit independent. They're not mean to the family. They don't need a lot of love. Okay, they kind of work on their own without the affection of the family. And that's one of the things that I really like about the Sorrells blood. So affectionate, but yet not missing in any of the working traits. So these two dogs are, since they're off of Frankie Bonk bred back to pure Sorrells, these two dogs, with the sire being 3/4, which is 75%, you take 75 and add 100, you get 175 divided by 2 is 87.5. So these two dogs are 87.5% Sorrells. Now next we have Miss Bandit. Come here, Miss Bandit. Miss Bandit is their half sister. The half sister of these two dogs. Why? Because she is also off of Frankie Bonk. So she is Frankie Bonk's daughter, and her mother is a bitch named Sadie. Now Sadie also came from Madison Parker, okay? And we named her Miss Bandit after Sorrells Bandit. And so she's not quite as pretty as she normally is. You can see her bagging mammary glands there. Her breasts are sagging because she's been raising pups, and her pups are 7 weeks old. So we just took her off her pups a couple days ago, and she's blowing that coat and has to draw back up. But what a great producer is. Now, what about her? Her mother is Madison Parker's Sadie. So let me tell you a little bit about Sadie. That was a female that I wanted from Madison Parker for a long time. Sadie was a dog that was sired by Slippin' Jimmy. So what's the deal with Slippin' Jimmy? Well, Slippin' Jimmy was Frankie Bomp's half brother. Frankie Bomp, who produced both of these dogs and also produced her, Frankie Bomp was sired by Big Daddy, and so was Slippin' Jimmy. So this female here, Bandit, Miss Bandit, is double bred on Big Daddy. And Big Daddy was a big dog. And Frankie Bomp was a good dog, good big dog. And so as a result of that, I think that Miss Bandit may throw some good-sized dogs. But yet, she is pure Madison Parker's version of the Sorrells blood. Next up, we've got two litter mates here. We've got Jackknife and Pumpkin. These two dogs are 100%. And I thought, what better way to preserve what Madison's been doing than going back to the pure Sorrells dogs. And that's what we've done with these two. So we just bred him to Miss Bandit. We got some pups over there. And we bred her to Boomer last year to get a bitch over there named Spaz. I'll show you Spaz later in the video. So that's Pumpkin. Pumpkin was bred to Boomer. And so she doesn't have any Frankie Bomp in her, but both of these dogs share common blood with Frankie Bomp quite a bit, because Frankie Bomp's bottom side was a bitch named Misfit, and Misfit goes to the same pedigree that's in these two dogs here. So Misfit was 100% Sorrells as well. Now, next up, we've got Banshee. Banshee is a daughter of Frankie Bomp as well. So if you notice something, Frankie Bomp all the way through. But her mother is where Lucky 7 and Wonder Girl come into play. So the Lucky 7 and Wonder Girl blood is basically heavy Mayday with some Red Boy added back in again. Now you might think, well, Mayday has Red Boy. You're right. Mayday was a Red Boy Jocko Bolio Tombstone dog. And if you know the Bolio stuff, it was very similar to the Sorrells stuff. Bert Sorrells had a dog named Bull. And Bull was sired by Bolio's sire, and Bull's mother was Bolio's sister. So Sorrells Bull was a father-daughter breeding. It was Bolio's sister bred back to Bolio's father. So it was father-daughter breeding. And Bolio is very similar to Sorrells, and we know that Bolio worked well with the Red Boy blood. And if you talk to Bert Sorrells before he passed, which I did, I knew Madison Parker really well, knew Pat Patrick very well, and or still know those gentlemen very well. Bert Sorrells, I knew from a business perspective. I bought a couple of dogs from him, or bought a dog from him, and I'd paid a couple of stud fees from him. I fed his dogs for a week, but he and our relationship was business oriented. But he liked the Red Boy Cross and the Carver Cross to his blood. And so that's what we chose to basically do. And so by taking Frankie Bump, a Sorrells dog, bred back to Komodo, her mother, we did that Red Boy Jocko Bolio Tombstone type of cross because it was Sorrells over some Mayday, which is Red Boy Jocko Bolio Tombstone, but over some more Red Boy. That's where she comes into play, and this is a really nice bitch. I like her a lot. The brindle comes from a bitch named Wild Thing, which was a Red Boy bitch. Okay, this is Banshee, by the way. We had a younger sister off of Frankie Bump and Komodo named Bakoti. And Bakoti is the mother of this girl here. This is Robinson's Riot. Come here, Riot. Now you'll notice all of my pit bulls we call Robinsons, and all of my American Sentinels we call ASCs. But this dog here, Robinson's Riot, she's a young girl. She's only like 9 months old or something like that. She's off of Boomer, the Frankie Bump Rosebud dog, bred back to Bakoti, which was Frankie Bump Komodo. So she's 2 times Frankie Bump, 9 months old, got good size on her. So she's got some Mayday stuff in her, and she's got some Red Boy coming in besides Mayday, and then she's got 2 times Frankie Bump, which is heavy Sorrells. And then we've got Bam Bam. Bam Bam, come here, bud. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Bam Bam is off of Boomer bred to Sadie. And we have his sister here, Miss Parker. Now, why did I name her Miss Parker? Miss Parker and Bam Bam are a concentrated version of Madison Parker's blood. Why? Because that was Boomer bred back to Miss Bandit. Miss Bandit was Frankie Bump and Sadie, and then Boomer was Frankie Bump Rosebud. So you'll notice the Rosebud has 100% Sorrells coming in on that strain. So we've got Madison and Sorrells coming together right here. So what is the commonality between this whole line? Every single one of these dogs is off of heavy Sorrells influence and Frankie Bump influence, okay? Except for Jackknife and Pumpkin. They don't have Frankie Bump, but they do have Frankie Bump's mother, Misfit, in their pedigree. And the only dogs that have Lucky 7 in them are these 2 here. This one here is sired by Frankie Bump over the Lucky 7 Wonder Girl combination, Komodo. Komodo was the bitch's, her mother's name. And then this one is double bred Frankie Bump. So I would say, instead of listening to rhetoric, look at what a person does. Again, actions speak louder than words, because words are sales pitches and actions show what a person really is. Your actions speak so loudly, I cannot hear what you say. This is Spaz. Good girl, Spaz. You can see she had some pups here. She is off of Boomer, bred back to Pumpkin, and she had pups. That's why she's got her mammary glands full. We actually separated her pups from her yesterday, so she's really full right now. I'll probably put them with her just for a little bit to let her drain out, and then we won't feed her today, so she'll dry up and not get mastitis. We don't want that to happen. Okay, and then we'll separate her again after they kind of dry her out a little bit and take her off her feed. We bred her to Bam Bam. Hey guys, come on guys. These 5 are off of Jackknife and Miss Bandit. Those 2 right there going in and out of the doghouse are out of Bam Bam and Spaz. Okay, they are younger than these 5. These 5 are a little bolder because they're about 10 or 14 days older than those 2. And we're going to get them out in the yard later today. All right, so that's what's going on here at American Sentinel K9. Now let's talk a little bit about our American Sentinels. All right, so this is ASC's Dolly. Dolly is off of Vlad and Jazz. Now let's go ahead and look at the top side. Vlad is a son of Preacher Man, and Preacher Man was the son of Sorrells Captain Skip. So we're going to have Sorrells Captain Skip coming in right there. And then Vlad's mother was Wild Thing, so we're going to have a quarter Wild Thing coming into this dog. And then her mother was Jazz, and Jazz had Wrecker in her, and Wrecker was Sorrells Captain Skip and Snaps. So she's going to have all of that blood in her, and then we're going to have Wild Thing coming into her. So a lot of Sorrells Captain Skip and a good bit of Wild Thing, and then to a lesser degree the Hammond's dog Snaps. Let's go up to the kennels and check them out. All right, so right here we have Reaper. Reaper is out of this dog right here, Ranger. Hey, Ranger, what you doing, buddy? Oh, boy. Ranger is a direct son of Frankie Bump, and then his mother, Valkyrie, was a direct daughter off of Preacher Man. And then Frankie Bump was, of course, Sorrels, and Preacher Man was sired by a Sorrels. So we got a lot of Sorrels coming in this dog directly from his sire, and then also from his great-grandsire, Captain Skip. Frankie Bump's his sire, Captain Skip's his great-grandsire. So a lot of Sorrels coming into this dog. Then we have him being the sire of her. You're going to see all that Sorrels coming into her again. But not just there. Let's look at her mother. So that's her sire, but her mother is a bitch named Elsa. Now, Elsa and Bumper and Scratch, those 3 dogs were all full siblings. They weren't litter mates, but they were full siblings from repeat breedings. So let's talk about that Justice Halo combination that produced those 3 dogs. Justice was a direct son of Preacher Man, so he's going to be a quarter Sorrels Captain Skip, which is Sorrels. And then we're going to also have let's say I said that was Justice Halo. So Halo is going to be sired by Little Rascal. So we got a dose of Little Rascal coming in her. And then Halo's mother was Valkyrie, which was Justice's sister. So again, we're going to see some Sorrels Captain Skip. So she's got Sorrels coming in from Preacher Man through Justice. She's also got Preacher Man coming into her from the Valkyrie dog. And then she's also got Little Rascal coming into her. So that's those 2 dogs. Let's move on to the next one. The girl. I hope y'all can see him okay. I had to wait for the sun to kind of settle a little bit, because when you have bright aisles and then shadows, it's hard to see him in the shadows. But anyway, this is Leela Jean, and then that's her brother Hannibal. These 2 dogs are both out of Scratch and Onyx. Now, Scratch, like I said, that was the Justice Halo combination, so you're going to have a lot of Preacher Man and a little bit of Little Rascal. But what about Onyx? Onyx was out of Justice and Widow. Now, we've already talked about Justice being a direct son of Preacher Man, which has Sorrels Captain Skip, but let's look at the Widow bitch. Widow was a daughter of Wrecker. Well, she's going to have some Snaps blood in them, and she's going to have some Little Rascal blood in her, and then she's going to have a lot of Sorrels Captain Skip in her. All right, and the same is true for her brother. Next up, we've got this young girl. What a beautiful girl. Good girl. Hey, baby. All right, so she is out of Scratch. So we're going to have that same Justice Halo combination that we've been talking about. Sorrels Captain Skip and Little Rascal. But then her mother is a bitch named Hair Trigger. Hair Trigger was sired by Lucky 7. And then Hair Trigger's mother is Onyx, which we're going to see that Sorrels Captain Skip and Snap coming in through Wrecker. Like I said, Wrecker was Sorrels Captain Skip. And so we got a good bit of that coming into her as well. So Lucky 7 and Sorrels Captain Skip. Let's see. All right, so this is Bumper. This is Justice Halo, Scratch's brother, Elsa's brother. So we've got that Sorrels Captain Skip again. We've got that Little Rascal influence. But I sometimes think, did I miss something when it's that easy? So let me think. Justice is got Sorrels Captain Skip. Halo's going to have Little Rascal. Valkyrie's going to have Sorrels Captain Skip. Next, we've got Kimura. Now this girl here is going to have them all. This dog is 90% game bred American Pit Bull Terrier. She's pregnant right now, so she's not looking her most impressive. But she's a really nice dog. We bred her to Bumper, the dog next to her. But hey, Kimura. So her sire was a dog named Slam. And when we talk about Slam, let's jump down and talk about this dog, Trinity. All right, so Trinity, Slam, and Maggie, those dogs were all sired by Lucky 7 over a bitch named Patches. And Patches was 2 times Wrecker. So being 2 times Wrecker, she's coming in through her mother. Plus, she's also going to have Sorrels Captain Skip coming in some other places as well through Preacher Man influence directly. And then she's going to have a little Rascal coming in her because that mother Patches her mother was a bitch named Mystique, and Mystique was out of Reptar and Halo has Little Rascal. So she's got all the stuff that I just said on Patches in her from her sire, because her sire was Trinity's brother. But what about her mom? Her mom is Banshee. Banshee, come here. Banshee is off of Frankie Bump and Komodo. Komodo's off of Lucky 7 and Wonder Girl. So she's going to have Frankie Bump and Komodo, which is Lucky 7 Wonder Girl, and she's going to have Little Rascal, and she's going to have Snaps, and she's going to have a lot of Sorrels Captain Skip. All right, now this dog here, we saved him for last. That's not intentional. It's just the way it happened, but it's going to make good sense given how he's bred. He is a direct son of Frankie Bomp, and this is the only Sentinel in the program that I can think of that does not have Preacher Man in him. His mother was a bitch named Pele, which came from Midgard Mastiffs. So this is a true outcross to the American Sentinel program, because we have Frankie Bomp, which is bred into the program, but then we have Pele, which is not bred into the program. So we got an outcross on his bottom side. Only pit bull in him is going to be Frankie Bomp. This is a bitch named Makita. Makita is off of Danger, and her mother is Hops. Hops was out of Justice and Cobalt's sister, Ebony. So Ebony was sired by Frankie Bomp, which means Hops was grandsired by Frankie Bomp, which means this dog's great-grandsire is Frankie Bomp, but then her sire, Danger, is a direct son of Lucky 7. So she's got Lucky 7 in her, she's got Frankie Bomp in her, but then if you go back further in her pedigree, you're going to find a lot of Sorrel's Captain Skip in her as well. So she's Frankie Bomp, Lucky 7, and Sorrel's. This dog here is Elsa. Elsa is off of Justice and Halo. There is no Frankie Bomp and no Lucky 7 in her, but she still has the Mayday blood and still has the Sorrel's blood, because she's going to have a lot of Sorrel's Captain Skip in her, and then she's also going to have Little Rascal. Little Rascal was another Mayday bred dog with some Big Apple stuff in him as well. So this is another Sorrel's Red Boy Jacobolio Tombstone cross bred back into the American Sentinel line. Justice and Halo is what made Elsa, but Halo was off of Little Rascal and Valkyrie. Valkyrie had the Sorrel's blood, and then Little Rascal, of course, was the Mayday blood and Big Apple blood. Next up, we have Bullet. Her mother is Nova. Nova was Frankie Bomp and Onyx. And then her sire was Slam, which was Lucky 7 and Patches. All right. Now, Patches is a heavy Sorrel's dog as well because of the Wrecker influence. Okay. Patches was double bred on Wrecker. All right. And Wrecker was heavy Sorrel's Captain Skip. So she's got Lucky 7 in her, and she's got Frankie Bomp in her, and she's got Sorrel's in here besides the Frankie Bomp, because the Sorrel's Captain Skip blood. So again, Frankie Bomp is her grandsire, Lucky 7 is her grandsire, and then a lot of Sorrel's blood as well. Next up, we got Robinson's Rip. Rip was sired by ASC's Slam, which was off of Lucky 7 and Patches. Patches again is Sorrel's, and then his mother is Elsa, which is down there, which has the Sorrel's Captain Skip and the little Rascal blood. So he's got Sorrel's and he's got Red Boy Jacobolio Tombstone, but he does not have any Frankie Bomp. Then we got Biscuit. Biscuit was off of Scratch, bred back to his mother Halo, so he's going to be heavy Sorrel's Captain Skip and heavy Little Rascal, okay, which is the Red Boy Jacobolio Tombstone. Then back here, we have Congo. Congo was off of Vicious, bred to Halo, but we're going to come back to him so I can explain how Vicious was bred. This is Onyx. Come here, girl. Onyx is a predecessor before we started using Frankie Bomp and before we started using Lucky 7. So she has no Frankie Bomp in her and she has no Lucky 7 in her. But she does have Sorrel's blood in her because of the Sorrel's Captain Skip blood that was in our foundation. Now, she was bred to both Lucky 7 and also bred to Frankie Bomp, and she was just recently bred to Boomer. So she's going to have offspring here again, hopefully, if we keep our fingers crossed. It looks like she might be pregnant. She's about a month in, hasn't gained a lot of weight, but I'm thinking that she's going to be pregnant. We'll see. But out of the Frankie Bomp stuff is what we got. We bred her to Frankie Bomp to get Nova, and we bred her to Lucky 7 to get Vicious and Hair Trigger. Now, Vicious was bred to Halo to make this dog, and Halo was Little Rascal and Valkyrie. Valkyrie was a littermate, not a littermate, a full sibling, younger than Justice, Preacher Girl, all that stuff. Valkyrie had no Lucky 7 and no Frankie Bomp, but she had no Little Rascal, but she was bred to Little Rascal to make Halo. Okay, so she had Preacher Man, which was Captain Skip, Sorrel's Captain Skip blood, Lucky 7 blood, but this dog does not have any Frankie Bomp blood. So we were working with him and seeing how it goes. Now let's talk about Reptar. Reptar is 11 years old. He was before we used Frankie Bomp and Lucky 7, so he has none of that. He does have Sorrel's Captain Skip in him quite a bit. And then Chewy. Let's look at ASE's Chewy, who we have in the house. Chewy was out of Vlad, bred back to Ladysmith. Vlad was Preacher Man and Wild Thing, so that's going to be Sorrel's and Red Boy. So that's the Vlad side. And then on the Ladysmith side, we have Scratch and Onyx. And in Scratch, there's going to be some Little Rascal and also Sorrel's Captain Skip, but no Frankie Bomp and no Lucky 7. And then in Onyx, there's neither Lucky 7 nor Frankie Bomp, but there is also no Little Rascal, but there is still a lot of Sorrel's Captain Skip. So anyway, that's a synopsis of the pit bull blood that we've used. Y'all take care and have a blessed day.